as the prime contractor to actually build and refurbish their data centers. And so FDC have been involved they were involved in the refurbishing of B1 and B2. They also refurbished C1. They built M1, S1, S2, and M2, and P1 from scratch. S2 is still under construction, so to a certain extent was M2. So the prime building contractors are those guys, and they subcontract like a lot of the electronic systems and the building management system are a mix of Siemens, AAB or ABB, those kind of guys. Schneider have been involved in both NextDC and Equinix. Schneider are actually building a data center as a prime contractor in Townsville at the moment. They were a prime contractor in the Pulse data center in Toowoomba that recently got commissioned. So different contractors would be involved. NextDC tend to do a lot of their own engineering design work, but like AirTrunk used a company called FM Evolution to do the design for theirs. Polaris used Strategic Directions. There's a whole lot of little niche players that do their bit. Some of the other contracting work around was a company called Blue IT, is now working on Polaris and the Polaris expansion, and been working closely with Metronode and Equinix now.
Okay.
So,
but then this contractor is only for the construction, providing equipment. So are they like one-stop shops mostly, or do they hire different company for different service?
No, none of them are one-stop shops. Probably Schneider would be the closest you get to a one-stop shop, and even they don't do a complete job. They don't do a lot of the power delivery, and Pulse was the first data center they've actually been involved in the design in Australia. Then the Toowoomba data center will be the second. So they're just trying to get into that area. Then all of the electrical work and things like the plumbing and air conditioning, that's all farmed out to large electrical contractors. Both Equinix and NextDC use Stowe and Alliance SI. So they tend to have several companies that they'll deal with, just so they're not dependent on one, and that works out for everybody.
And how big is this subcontractors market? So if you look for the company, let's say for the electricity, for the utility or construction, do the company receive many offers? Do I like many players on the market? Are this like very market competitive, or?
Oh, yeah, it's a very competitive market. There's each market is a little bit parochial in Australia. So the Sydney market and the Melbourne market are quite different. There are some of the same players down there, but there's different electrical providers, different electrical companies. There's slightly different electrical standards and different regulatory environments, unbelievably. But and then over in Perth, it's completely different. I can't remember the contractors in Perth, but most of them don't actually appear on the East Coast, the West Coast only. And same to a lesser extent in Brisbane. There's some smaller companies, but Stowe and Alliance are both up here and very active. It's a very healthy market, and they don't just do work on data centers. Of course, they're commercial electrical suppliers.